Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Any more students are joining? Okay, let me share my screen. Is it visible, everyone? So welcome back, everyone. Actually, we were expecting students to turn up on the first week of February, but since nobody turned up, so yesterday one of the student, she came and she was asking for the class. Like, when am I supposed? When will I take class? Anyways, we were waiting for you all to turn up in the department, but since you didn't turn up, so I thought I'll take few online classes and then complete the syllabus. Anyways, because I'm sure you are engaged with your mini project, and also you're doing some work for your major project, because this semester you have major project, isn't it? So parallelly you have to do two projects. Okay. So we have few topics left in Python. Okay. So far what we have seen is what we have done. I mean, what we have done, the programmings, we have done the, individual programs like, solving mathematical problems in Python and then executing those programs. Okay. Now we are moving to the web based. Okay. So now what we will see the examples, HTML code, isn't it? Everyone is aware of whose mic is on. Yeah, please check, okay, if any of your mic is on. Yeah. So now what we will discuss is the HTML programs. You have already, I'm sure you have done in your bachelor's, web-based programs, HTML, and then you have this PHP, JavaScript, okay, how to design a web page. Now we will see same thing using Python. We will do same thing, how to design a web page using Python. So in the earlier classes, we have seen the individual, independent programs, okay, solving mathematical programs, how Python can be used in your research work as well, few examples how the packages can be, modules packages can be used. Similarly in CGI also we have we will be using some of the modules or packages. Okay, so what CGI stands for is Common Gateway Interface. I'm sure everybody's aware of this terminology. Okay. What is it? SCGI is a standard for external gateway programs to interface with information servers such as HTTP servers. Okay, so whenever you work online, okay, you are submitting online any kind of form, data, voice, it is sent through the hypertext transfer protocol. Okay, so it goes to HTTP to the servers. Okay. So web browsing, as I said, to understand the concept of CGI, let us see what happens when we click a hyperlink to browse a particular web page or URL. Okay. So if you are non-computer background student, so this would have been a new thing for you all. Okay. But since you already know, you are in the, you are doing your masters. Okay. So we assume that you know the basic concept of browsing. Okay, how browsing works, like, because everything nowadays, everything is on your phone. Okay, it's so easy to, like, search anything in your, I mean, online, isn't it? So when you click something, like for example, Google, when you want to click, you want to search some data. Okay, you type, say for example, you don't know the full form of CGI. Okay, so you type, you write full form of CGI in your Google search. So what actually happens at the back end? Okay, so you are typing a data. Okay, the data which you have typed, it's in a text form. You type the data and then you press the button search. So now you are at the client side. Okay, so you have you have requested to look for an answer to the browser. So whatever you see on your screen is a browser. Okay, it could be a Google Chrome, Mozilla, like, there are various n numbers of browsers available. So you use one of the browser, that is the medium to communicate. Okay, so you type in the data, and then when you click on the search button, a request has been sent that you need to get the answer for that. Within fraction of seconds, depending on your internet speed, you get the response. Okay, so where are you getting the response from? Is it from your phone? No. Is it from your laptop or your desktop? No. You're connecting to a server, okay, which you are remotely logging into a server. So you know the architecture, you have a client server architecture. Okay, you are the client at any location, any part of the world. You can be in any part of the world, and then you can request for any kind of information. Okay, and then it connects to the server. So how the connection is done? What is the medium? Okay, so that is your HTTP, that is hypertext transfer protocol. It works as a medium to communicate between the server and the client. Okay, so your browser contacts the HTTP web server and demands for the URL, that is your file name. Okay, and then what happens next? Web server parses the URL and looks for the file name, If it finds that a file, then it sends back to the browser, otherwise sends an error message indicating that you requested a wrong file. Suppose if you have something, you type something else, okay? If it doesn't have any relevant data, then the response from the server would be data not found or couldn't locate, or like for example, you are trying to log into your Gmail account, okay, and you username and password. Okay, so you are trying to give your username and password, and then some username you type something wrong, or your password is not correct, then what it is, the login ID or password is incorrect. Okay, so that is the message you are getting from the server. You are not getting from your laptop, or you are not getting from your mobile. Nothing is there in your system. Okay, it is sent through the server if you are on internet. But for example, if you are developing your own web page or your app in your system, then your system will work as a client and server. Okay, many student gets confused with this, because since you are in a learning stage, at the very initial stage. Okay, so you might, so when you're developing, how you might say, okay, what will be my server? If I am the client, who will be my server? Where should I log in into? So when you're developing a web page or an app in your system, so you have to create an architecture in your system itself, where you are the client and you will also be the server. Okay, so you will have all the password, everything of, suppose your login details, everything will be there. Okay, and then you log into your web page, that is your, the one which is under developed, okay, which is you're developing. Okay, like for example, if you're doing any kind of mini project, okay, in mini project, if you are doing some interactive if you're developing something in interactive web page, so in your case, you will be the client and your system will be the server. So you can work. But when you want to actually implement on the real-time basis, okay, so then you have to locate your server, okay, hosting. Okay, the word hosting comes into when you want your website to be as a, it should be available to worldwide. Okay, so then comes the real server side structure, architecture. Okay. Web browser takes response from web server and displays either the receipt or file or the error messages. Okay. However, it is possible to set up the HTTP server so that whenever a file in a certain directory is requested, that file is not sent back. Instead, it is executed as a program, and whatever the program also sent back to your browser to display. So whenever when a password or login ID is correct, you will get the output. You can log into your Google account, and then you can check your inbox, and then whatever you want to do, if you want to send a mail or whatever, you can, it can be done. But actually everything is, whatever you're trying to do, is everything is done on the server. Only your screen is only the gateway. Okay, common gateway interface. Your browser, your system works that like that, but actually you're working in the server. Okay. The function is also called the Common Gateway Interface or CGI, and the programs are called CGI script. Okay, so there are various script programs which you can, which will enable you to do all this programs. Okay, so this is your architecture. Web client, you are the client side and the website on your system. If web client can be you with your mobile, with your laptop, with your desktop, okay, or anywhere. Okay, and then the line in between, that is the this line is your HTTP protocol. Okay, and these are the server. You have a web server, it it connects to the web server, then the server side script will be executed. Okay, and then there will be a database, and then like for your user ID, login ID and password will be stored here. If you're trying to log in into the Google account, it will check with the database there, and then check if it is correct or not. If it is correct, then web server will send back to the client, logged in successfully, and then you can do whatever, or whatever you want to do with your page. Otherwise, if it is wrong, then server side script will send data, excuse me, it is wrong, the password is wrong, and that message will be sent to the web client. Okay, so this is your client server architecture. Okay, So these are the various CGI files. Extension have .cgi, but you can also keep your files with Python extension .py as well. Okay, so either this or this. So we will stick to .py because we will be working in Python. Okay. Okay, now who joined? So that's why I give you enough time. Like, if anybody is joining, where is it? So when you're late for the class, you'll miss out. Okay. So this is your file extension. If you want to see the link, there isn't actually the CGI programs, because since this is not a very new thing, I mean, like web page designing. Okay, so everywhere the link will be given, the directory will be given to you. Okay, where the files will be stored. Okay, so once you're working in your software, these things will be taken care by your software. Okay, so you need not worry about the link where it is sent, but you should know where it is stored. Okay, you should be able to locate them, like setting the path. All those things will be done once your software is installed. Everything will be done by the system itself. Okay, since we are working in Windows. Okay, so you need not worry about that. So directory thing, this I'll send you the PPT so you can refer to this. Okay, but you need not go into all these things. Okay, so how your program looks like. Okay, a Python program, your Python CGI program. Okay, so the print command, same thing. Okay, then your HTML code will look like this. So far you have written HTML code with, you have HTML, then you have head, body, isn't it? In a separate, in your Notepad or Notepad. Okay, Notepad++, wherever you have been working. Okay, HTML. So the same code will be used. You can write the same code, and this is how the syntax is in Python. Because in Python, if you want to print something, you have to use the command print. Okay, print, then you give your details here. So this is how your program will look like. And when you run this, okay, when you run this program, your output will be hello world. This is my first CGI program. So this is a static page. You are just displaying the information. You're just displaying the data, what is being typed in HTML, that you are displaying on your web page, on your browser. And then what is the programming language used, the scripting language used? It is used Python. Okay, so here is this is a simple link to CGI script, hello Python. This file is kept in, this is the directory where it is kept. You should know this path. Okay, where it is stored, and it has a following content. Okay, so this is your simple program. So only thing, you know this HTML. Okay, now how to incorporate with your Python, that you have to learn little bit. Since you already know, since you have already written many Python programs, so this should not be an issue to you. Okay, now how it works, it's a simple Python script which writes its output on the standard output file. That is your screen. Okay, there's one important thing, an extra feature available, which is the first line to be printed. So this is the first line which you need to include when you're working with your HTML code. Okay, you have to include this. This line is sent back to the browser, and it specifies the content type to be displayed on the browser screen, because you are not writing a simple program. Okay, this is your HTML program which has to be displayed on the browser. Okay, you are not doing any mathematical, you're not solving any mathematical problem. Okay, this is web-based program. So that is the reason what type of content it is. Okay, you need to specify this. So this is the new line which you need to include in your program. Okay. So this is the header. The line content type HTML is part of the HTTP header, which is sent to the browser to understand the content. All the HTTP header will be in the following form. So this is the form. Okay, content type. This you have to mention this header. Okay, so there are a few other important HTTP headers which is used frequently in your CGI program. So these are the ones which you'll be using when you start actually developing a web page using Python. So these are the things you have to include. Okay, your content type, your date, the expiry date. It is very important in your web page. Okay, the date information becomes invalid. Okay, it is used by the browser to decide when a page needs to be refreshed. Okay, so this is very important. Date. Okay, date function. Then your location, the URL is returned instead of URL requested. Okay, the last modified date. Okay, content length of the bytes, cookies, setting cookies. So these are the headers which you need to include if you are when you start actually working on your web page. Okay, CGI environment variables. All the CGI programs have access to the following environment variables. So these are the environment variables: content type, you have content length, HTTP cookie, user agent, path information, query string. So if you have developed any of our web page so far, even a simple one using any, not Python, any other program, any other scripting languages, so I'm sure these commands are variables are I mean, it's known to you. Okay, because you have to use all these things in your, if you are developing any web page. Okay, not all, but most of it you have to use, because you need to have cookies, you need to have specify the length of your content. Okay, path information will be, you have to specify. If it is not by default, if it is not given, okay, then query string and the remote address. Okay, so all these things has to be known to you. Then you have a remote host hosting. Okay, the fully qualified name of the host making the request. Not valid, the remote adder cannot be used to get IR address. Okay, then you have request method, get and post, which method you want to use. Then script file names, script names, server names, server software. Okay, the version of the software the server is running. So these are the backend thing. Okay, when you are developing a, when you have developed a web page and then you want to make it available on the internet. Okay, so these are the things you need to take care of. Okay, so it's just this is a simple CGI program. Okay, you're importing OS and then it's a package. Okay, you're importing, and then content type you are mentioning, and then font size, remember the font size. Okay, all this these are the, you are formatting the display, how you want to display it. Okay, then you have used a for loop, and then you have created an object in here. Okay, so till this is the function. Okay, you are referring to this, and this is the object environment keys function available in this particular package, and then print, so it will be display. Okay, so we will move on to the guest and post methods. So guest and post methods, I'm sure you have studied earlier also. In all the programming scripting languages, you have guest and post methods. Okay, so similarly in Python also, you have guest and post. These are the common things which you will be using in all the scripting languages. Okay, the get method sends the encoded information append to the page request. And most of the time, like, suppose if you are, for example, your login ID and password, where you need to use your password. Okay, in such case, get method is not used. Okay, and the reason is, whatever you type in, that will be displayed on your browser. Okay, and it has a size limitation of 1024 characters, so this is not secure. Only when you have login ID and password. Okay, so that time it is advised not to use get method, because your login ID and password will be displayed on the URL. Okay, but suppose for your search engine, okay, in search engine, get method is used because you are not trying to hide anything. Okay, so you are trying to send data to your server looking for this particular information. Okay, so get method sends information using query string, okay, header, and will be accessible in your CGI program through query string environment variable. Okay, you can pass information by simply concatenating key and value pairs along with any URL, or you can use HTML form tags to pass information using get method. Okay, so this is how it can be used in your Python program. Okay, the get methods. So see, there is a small example. Okay, import modules for CGI handling. Okay, so you have to remember, I have in the when we were discussing modules and packages, we discussed the basic ones. Okay, and what are the mostly used. Now since we are working with CGI, okay, so you can check, uh, you can browse and then get the information for the CGI modules available for CGI. Okay, so with that you have to include your modules in your program. Okay, so all the modules are available, packages are available. Okay, so this makes your Python program very easy. Why Python program? Every day I keep telling in the class why Python program became so popular all of a sudden. Like, when initially it came back 15-20 years back, it was there. Python was always there, but the popularity wasn't there much. Only in the some of the places where some people used to develop web pages, or then later on, like, it got people started using more in their research field. They started coding in Python. Okay, why? Because when people are doing research or doing any kind of further studies, lots of time is consumed, okay, in the study itself. And then when you want to try to implement, when you want to write code, if you have to write everything from the basic, so that consumes time. Okay, just excuse me 1 second. Okay, I'm getting a call. Okay, just excuse me. Sorry, that was a call from university, so I had to take it. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so we were talking about the model. See, this is what I was talking about, like, giving comments. Documentation is very important writing programs. So this is what, so if it was written just import CGI, but although CGI makes sense, but still, okay, so what you're trying to import is you're importing modules, and then you're creating instance of a field storage. Okay, so whatever in the form, whatever data is being stored, okay, in the form, that is, you are creating an instance for this. Okay, the form data, whatever you're passing data from the form, that will be stored here. Okay, you're creating an instance for it. Okay, now get the data from the form. Okay, so a form has to be created. Okay, so for first name in the form get value, a get value function is used, that is, and then you have a text box there, first name. Okay, then another text box for last name, and whatever value is being inserted in the form will be stored in this first name and last name. So these two are the variables where the data will be sent. Okay, so now this is your program. Now what you're trying to display is your, the main thing is you're displaying first name and last name. Okay, so just to display two names, so these are the things we need. So it might bother, like, so many things are included, but this is just the first time. Since you're writing program for the first time, so you might think, okay, it's a very long program, too many things to be included. But see, since you have in Python you have modules, what you did, you just wrote HTML code. Okay, just wrote an HTML code, and then a form is created and getting two values. Okay, rest your Python is handling everything, extracting data, and you are including only this thing. So you don't go with the length, you see the technicality, how the programs were shortened. Okay, so that is important in Python. That what makes Python very, very easy, user friendly. Okay, you might thinking, oh, this is little complicated, so too many things. But once you actually start working with Python, it's all about modules and packages, and you should know your modules and packages, which module to use, where to use. Okay, so that is little tricky. Okay, once you get hang of it, then Python becomes very simple programming language. Okay, so this is how it is done. You should know how the sequence, okay, where, how to get it. So a little bit of extra work has to be done in your modules. Okay, which modules to be used, how to use, and what functions are there. Okay, what functions can be used to get your work done. Everything, all the information is available online, because this is open source programming language, free. Like, all the softwares for Python, all the editors where you can use your Python code, where you can learn your Python code, is open source. Open source means free of cost, and it is not a pirated version. It's an actual software which is freely available. Okay, so that is the reason all the related tutorial information is freely available on the website. You don't have to be a member of anything, or you don't have to you don't have to enroll for a premium version or anything as such. Everything is available, freely available. Okay, so a simple form using a get method. Okay, so this example passes two values from, so this is your HTML form, this is your Python page. Okay, Python page, somewhere the form has to be designed, isn't it? The form should be there somewhere. Just writing form dot get value doesn't mean that a form is created. Okay, a form has to be created. So where is a program for the form? So this is the form. Okay, the form tag is used, action, getting Python method is, we are using get method because there's nothing to be hidden. You are passing your first name and last name. Okay, so get method can be used. So whatever you type in, your first name and last name will be sent through the URL. Okay, so this is a simple, and last name there, and then another button is created, input. What is that? Input type, submit, button value is submit. So once you write this code, HTML code, this is how your form looks like. Okay, everyone getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, simple program, very similar to HTML. Few extra things are included. Your kind of header, and then all these packages. Okay, all these functions are included. Okay, this is using get method. Okay, now for post method, a general, more reliable method of passing information to a CGI program is the post method. Okay, so you got the difference between the post and get method. So this packages the information exactly the same way as get. It's very similar, but instead of sending it as a text string after in the URL, it sends it as a separate message. Okay, so if you see, like, if you see in your Google search, you type something, okay, and then you see the URL. Suppose you type, say, Sikkim University, okay, 2 words. You check in a URL, you will see Sikkim plus University plus, that plus thing will be used. Okay, so that means you are in the URL, you have all the messages being displayed using the separating by plus operator. Okay, that is how it is displayed. But when you use the post method, that messages will not be there. Okay, your data will not be there, it will be encrypted. Okay, so below is the same program which handles get method as well as post method. Okay, so we will see the same program. Okay, this is the same program, previous program. Now we will see in the form. Okay, form action, method, post. Okay, name type, first name and last name using the method post. Okay, input type, submit, value, submit. Same program, only the method is post. So everything remains same, only the method remains different. Okay, so your form, this is your form. Okay, so this is how either you have post method or get method. You should know the difference. Okay, get and post method. Now another one is check boxes are used when more than one option is required to be selected. So how check boxes can be used in your form. Okay, the previous 2 example was simple text box. Now these are the various component available in your form. Okay, so form action, same thing. Check box, your values, maths value on, physics value on, submit value. Okay, then you have a submit, and then so these are the one. Okay, result of this code. Okay, the value is not name. Type is checkbox, name is maths, physics. It is not, it should be displayed. Okay, then select the subject, any one subject, and once you select, it will be sent. Okay, so this is for the checkbox. So below is a checkbox to handle input given by the web browser for text box. Now see how a program can be written. Okay, handling, import CGI, creating instance for the field storage. Okay, now get data from the fields. Okay, a form is created. If form.get value maths, if the flag is on, okay, else maths flag off. If form get value is on, if the flag is on, else physics off. Okay, so if it is true, then you get the value, else it is off. If it is true, so it's if and else statement. Okay, but where are you getting the value for physics and maths? From the form. Okay, so this is how it is included in your field. Okay, it is how it is included, and based on this, it will be displayed. Okay, so your form will look like this. Okay, the content in the form is this, and the content in your Python program is this. How to include this or this. In the case of text box, both was included, so the option was not given. But in case of this, you have an option. Okay, next is your radio buttons are used only when one option is required to be selected. Here is HTML code. Okay, in this case, either this or this, both cannot be selected. Okay, in checkbox, there are cases where more than one can be selected, but in case of radio buttons, only one can be selected. Okay, so this is your code in the form, and this is how your program looks like. Okay, your Python program. Get fields from, if form value subject equals a form value, else not set. So either just one value. Okay, then whichever is true, that will be taken as a value, and then it will be displayed here. Okay, now similarly, passing area text data to the CGI programs. If you want to, if you have more than one line data, more than one data. Okay, suppose you have paragraph, like for example address, or some, like, feedback from the user. So there you have a text area. Okay, so the form, the content of the form, it's given like this: form action, then text area. Okay, type value this. Now what will your form, Python program looks like? CGI field storage, get fields, if form, get value, okay, text content, else not entered. Means it could be blank also. Some people, like, they don't include any of the feedback. They just, until and unless it is not mandatory, they don't do. So, okay. So even if nothing is entered, the data passed is not entered. Okay. So it will not give error if it is not entered and nothing has been typed. Okay. So these are the example. The next is drop down box to CGI programs. Okay. So your forms drop down means list of data will be there. You have to select anyone. Okay. So option drop down. What are the values of this? Math, physics. Okay. Submit button. So your form will be creating instance, and if form get value drop down, okay, then subject drop down. From the drop down list, get the value. Okay. And from where is that get value? In the form. So it will refer to the form. And if nothing has been selected, not entered. Past is not entered. Okay. Rest, everything remains same here. Subject. So these was the various components used in the forms. Okay. Like drop down and then radio button. These are the common ones. Okay. Which is mostly you will see in the form. Suppose if you want to design a registration form, so all these things are used. Text area for the address, and then for some comments, and then checkbox list for education, for qualification, and for gender, radio buttons. Okay. And for all your other personal information, you have text box. So now you know how to include. Okay. So what I want you all to do today is, okay, wherever you are, if you are in the department or if you are at home or wherever you are, all these forms, I want you to create and execute them. Okay. I'll send you this PPT in your thing, in your group. Okay. Please, sincerely be true to yourself and then execute all the sample programs. I am not giving you any new program, because see, Python is not only theory. Python is a scripting language, programming language. So you have to write programs. Until unless you don't write programs, you will not be able to understand anything. This is not history. I'm not teaching you any theory paper. Okay. Although it doesn't have a lab, but questions will be there for you to write programs. So that is the reason I'm telling you, since we have come back after such a long break. So I'm sure you have forgotten your programs, and I know you all didn't do anything in this winter break. Okay. So anything with respect to Python, I'm talking. I don't know about the project. I'm sure you have been working for your project, but I'm in context of Python, I'm saying. Okay. So I want you all to, it might look very long, but please, okay, you execute all these programs and write it in your notebook. Okay. Notebook or lab copy. Is that okay? Everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So can I end here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll take a few more classes this week. Okay. Tomorrow also I'll take class. So please be available, and whatever is required, important things required, I'll try to cover it up. Okay. And then for mini project students, please, I'm sure you got a mail from HOD sir, isn't it?
Yes,
Did
ma'am.
Yes,
everyone
ma'am.
get a mail from HOD sir regarding mini project?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please try to complete. You got enough time. Earlier it was only 3 months, so my student, I didn't give you all much work. I just gave you some survey and then little bit of output you need to generate. I didn't give you much work. Similarly, I'm sure other students also didn't get that much work, assuming that the exam will be conducted in December, but somehow it got postponed and then it got extended. So now you got enough time. You had enough winter break to complete. So now no more excuses. Complete your mini project as soon as possible, because why I'm saying this is because your major project is starting now. This semester it's your major project. And major project cannot be considered. You cannot get a simple, just a study to do. You need to have a proper project. You need to come out with a proper output. Okay, so you have to focus, you have to give more time to your major project. Got it? So don't waste your time. Every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour in a day you get, utilize. Okay, the whole day you sit and do your work. No more excuses. Okay, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.